Trepang2 just keeps getting better and better, and it's complete carnage. I recently played through and completed Trepang2 for the very first time, and I have to admit, it's one of my favourite first-person shooters of all time. If you've not played or seen anything of Trepang2, I think you'd actually be surprised by how phenomenal this game actually is. I picked up Trepang2 without any knowledge of the game or without seeing any of its gameplay, and the only reason I did pick it up was because it was recommended to me on Steam since I had played Dredge. So I saw a screenshot of the game on its store page, and it gave me the impression that this game was something special that I had to try for myself. By playing Trepang2 for the first time, I was astonished by the gameplay and story, which I can only summarize by saying it's a blood-fueled, supercharged roller coaster without brakes. After beating the story and doing everything else the game had to offer, I didn't think this game could get any better. However, the DLC for Trepang2 was recently released, named Blade Kisser, so I knew I had to pick it up and give it a go. After finishing Blade Kisser, I thought it was impossible for this game to get any better, but somehow the developers were able to do just that. So allow me to present to you a small taste of what Trepang2's DLC Blade Kisser is all about. For some background, Trepang2 was developed by Trepang Studios and published by Team 17. If you didn't know, Team 17 are the same publishers for Dredge and Amber Isle, and you're right, this game is very different to those titles. You'd expect someone like Devolver Digital to publish this game, but Team 17 got the good stuff. Trepang2 released in June 2023 and received overwhelmingly positive reviews from gaming journalists and players, and it also built one of the best and most hardcore communities I've seen in the gaming industry in recent times. Trepang2 is a blood-soaked, action-packed, gruesome first-person insane shooter set in the near future, where you have to unleash every ounce of destruction and chaos onto a bunch of meat puppets that people like to call enemies. You are essentially the harbinger of doom, working for a secret organized special operations group named Task Force 27. It's Task Force 27, not 27, so don't get confused. The title of the game alone gives you an idea of what to expect from this game, because the Trepang is a marine invertebrate that expels its organs as a self-defense mechanism, a process known as evisceration. Now, your organs won't be spilled in this game, but you'll be performing this gruesome act onto any enemies that get in your way. Before you ask if this is a prequel or a sequel, since it has 2 in the title, well, it's neither, and this is the first entry in the Trepang series. Trepang2 has a short and sweet story, which clocks in at just over 5 hours for the average player. The game being 5 hours long is not necessarily a bad thing, because it encapsulates a perfect story for that duration, with delivering outstanding and phenomenal gameplay, which influences the player to replay the game over and over again. In addition to the story, the game offers the player many more things to do. You can customize all of your weapons from your arsenal however you like by selecting what attachments you wish to be equipped to them, or by choosing the weapon skin from a wider range of options. In addition to customizing your weapons, you can also customize 106 clothing at the Task Force 27 facility by selecting the color or camouflage for each piece of clothing, such as shirt, glove, pants, and shoes, which isn't a feature that this game needs since you don't get to see much of your body, but it's definitely a welcomed option. When you're not on a mission, you can visit the combat simulator and use this to fine-tune your skills by fighting waves of enemies on different maps in the selection of horde modes available. Then once you've finished training or not on a main assignment, you can also try your hand at the side missions, which are all unique and just as polished as the main missions. I don't want to go into too much more detail as to what the base game has to offer, since I already covered this in my previous Trepang2 video, which I highly recommend you check out if you want to find out more. In this video, I want to talk about everything the new Trepang2 DLC and latest update has to offer, which is titled Blade Kisser. The DLC features 2 new main missions in completely new areas. These 2 main missions are, one being Task Force 63 Command Center, which is an affiliate task force of 27, and unfortunately their base of operations is under siege by a large contingent of Horizon forces. And the second new main mission is the Omega facility, located in the Pacific Ocean, which Task Force 27 have identified as a Horizon Corporation black site, and your goal is to assault the facility and search for its top secret intel. You can tackle these 2 new main missions in any order you wish, but I would recommend you play through the Task Force 63 Command Center first, then jump into the Omega facility mission. So let's break down the story of the new main missions. If you're not interested in finding out what these missions entail, or you wish to avoid spoilers for them, you can skip ahead in the video to the next timestamp. Now with that out the way, we step back into the boots of the genetically enhanced super soldier, Subject 106. The director contacts 106 and informs him that Task Force 63 is being overrun by the evil Horizon Corporation. 106 suits up and heads to Raven, Task Force 27's pilot, to be transported to 63's base of operations. 106 enters Task Force 63's base of operations and sees first-handedly the catastrophic damage that the Horizon Corporation has done to this facility. On comms, we hear that the director of Task Force 63 has been killed and an unnamed officer of the facility is acting as CO. Our director informs the CEO that 106 is going to help extract the soldiers from this base of operations, starting with those located in the Western Cargo Wing. While heading to the Western Cargo Wing, we see wounded soldiers from Task Force 63 and realise how badly they've been hurt. As we advance through the facility, surviving members of Task Force 63 give 106 the nickname of 27's Ace, so it's nice to hear we've got a reputation around these parts.
Hey, check it out. 27's Ace.
106 meets up with Wolfhound and he gives us instructions on how we are going to secure the Western Cargo Wing, which is currently controlled by Horizon troops. He tells us that his team is going to assault from the front and 106 is going to get a drop on them from behind. We make our way through a crawl space where we then enter the Western Cargo Wing, which is full with Horizon goons. Now, I thought about using the new revolver which came with this DLC, which packs more than a punch, but I had the brilliant idea of cutting these guys open like the first slice of wedding cake at a wedding. I don't think it needs any more of an introduction, but what you've just witnessed at work is the new main DLC weapon, the sword, which is what this game needed from release because it fits into the gameplay perfectly. Once we've secured the Western Cargo Wing, we hear a strange sound coming from one of the containers. 106 investigates the container and is ambushed by Horizon soldiers who are hiding inside. 106 is knocked to the ground, and before drifting off into an unconscious state, we hear the screams of Task Force 63 soldiers being massacred, along with our air support being attacked by Horizon anti-air guns. Some time passes and 106 wakes up inside one of the containers in the western cargo wing. A member of Task Force 63 saved our life, but in the process of doing so, wasted all of our ammo, which I can't get mad at him for, and besides, we've got our trusty new sword, which has unlimited ammo. We leave the container to discover that all of the extraction points have been destroyed, and there is by no means any way of extracting the Task Force 63 soldiers deserted inside this facility. The CO patches into our comms and informs us that the only remaining extraction point is from the eastern cargo wing, where members of Task Force 63 are waiting. So 106 heads there, slaughtering enemies along the way in the only way 106 knows how to. We make it to the eastern cargo wing and find no sign of Task Force 63 being here. The director scans the cargo wing for us and identifies from life signs that the remaining Task Force 63 members are hiding inside the containers. But nothing is ever easy for 106, and a high-ranking member of the Horizon Corporation named the Auditor patches into our comms and places a kill or capture order on our head for the Horizon soldiers to take. All of a sudden, Horizon troops are swarming 106 like geese when you toss bread, but I decided to show them how 106 can take a sharp turn. After I had butchered my way through 24 Horizon troops, we pop a smoke grenade to call in air support so we can evacuate the Task Force 63 soldiers hiding in this cargo wing. As our air support enters the airspace above the sky doors to help with our evacuation, Horizon Harrier jump jets fly over, aiming to drop bombs inside. The CO shuts the sky doors in time, but our last chance of evacuating Task Force 63 is now gone, since our last remaining extraction point has been compromised. 106 listens into the comms between the CO and our director. Our director informs the CO to cut his losses and leave the wounded soldiers at the facility to perish, but the CO refuses to cooperate. With the CO refusing to cooperate, our director orders us to eliminate the remaining soldiers of Task Force 63 that are held in the cargo wing, since she believes that if they're captured by Horizon, they'll make them talk and spill all of our secrets. We have no choice other than to listen and to follow commands. 106 opens each container the soldiers are hiding in and gives them a quick death. This part reminded me a lot of that one mission in Metal Gear Solid 5. If you played it, you'll know what I'm talking about. After we've done taking care of that dirty business, we hear a distress call coming from the excavation wing, where we head towards to provide support. 106 arrives at the excavation wing, where the CO traps us in the connecting hallway and orders his men to stand down and to leave with the Horizon soldiers to ensure their survival, which all in all means Task Force 63 has betrayed us. Trapped in the connecting hallway, Horizon soldiers line up outside with their weapons aimed on 106. In an effort to save us, the director patches into their security and uses one of their turrets to obliterate the enemies. We break out of the room and clean up any Horizon parasites that have survived. After 106 is done and making a mess, the director orders us to destroy the facility after Task Force 63 has defected to the enemy. 106 plants charges in the command wing and detonates the explosives, bringing the Task Force 63 base of operations to an end. 106 doesn't really think this through, since we don't have a plan to escape when the explosives go off. We run through the facility as it's exploding around us, and we manage to escape through a maintenance corridor. 106 makes it to the end of the corridor and has no time to think before he decides to jump off the edge before turning around in slow motion like a badass to look at the destruction. Some time passes and 106 wakes up on a beach awaiting extraction from Raven. After we're done with the shit show that happened at Task Force 63, the director gives us our next assignment of attacking a Horizon Corporation black site named Omega Facility. 106 and Task Force 27 head to the Omega Facility and unleash all-out warfare on Horizon with the support of the Wraith Division. 106, Task Force 27 and Wraith annihilate every single member of Horizon they come across at this black site. 106 makes it to the sublevel of one of the structures that makes part of the Omega facility and destroys the heat sinks, which shuts down the power at the black site. At this point, most of the Omega facility shuts down and we continue to butcher our way through Horizon goons. After we're done announcing a few retirements at the Omega facility, the leader of this black site, Captain Morrison, has his own ace up his sleeve. Out of nowhere, a battle-ready submarine emerges and 106 has to go toe-to-toe against it. It looks like Captain Morrison wanted to play dirty, so 106 gave him a bath. We used the destroyed submarine to make our way to the final platform of the Omega facility, which we're tasked with gathering intel from the Omega 4 facility. We take the lift down and the director tells us that she is picking up multiple signals near our position, which all relate to life signs of Task Force 27 operatives. 106 ventures deeper into the facility and a pre-recorded audio log from Dr. Blackwell is played over the speakers. Dr. Blackwell announces that he's leaving the scientific project that was being performed here since he no longer agreed with its direction. What the scientific project is, we have no idea at this moment in time. 106 enters the central room of the Omega 4 facility and witnesses several test subjects being kept in some sort of cryogenic state. At this point, we have more questions than answers, but all of a sudden we hear a voice asking the director for an extraction. 106 heads towards where the voice is coming from and identifies the central test subject contained in a pod, which seems to be the main source of powering all of the other test subjects we have seen so far. We patch the director into the terminal and the system activates its emergency security protocol, which frees all of the several test subjects we saw hanging in cryogenic states. These test subjects come charging at 106 and display the same abilities we have, such as power sliding and turning invisible. 106, being like a super-powered John Wick, quickly disposes of these copycats before he returns to the control panel and speaks to the main test subject, which it is revealed that he is Dr. Emerson, also known as Subject 95. Without spoiling too much, Dr. Emerson asks to be killed so he can be retired. 106 heads inside his control chamber and destroys the heat sinks powering his pod, which causes him to inevitably die. Just like before, 106 has to escape yet another exploding facility, and he races back to the lift we used to descend into this facility. 106 makes it in time and heads back up to the platform. As we emerge from the facility, it's now nighttime, and we see the rest of Task Force 27 and Wraith destroying the last remnants of the Horizon Corporation here. 106 heads to Raven and extracts from the Omega facility. Both new missions that came with the Blade Kisser DLC are definitely great additions to the story, especially the Omega facility assignment, since there is a lot of interesting details at the end of this mission, which helps flesh out the story more and gives the player more questions to think about, which in a way influences the player to replay through this mission again to see if they can find out more. Outside these new story missions, and as already showcased, there are 3 new weapons, which are the revolver, the sword, and the machine gun, which is modelled after the MLG 106. Of course, the sword is everyone's new favourite weapon in the game. What I thought is a pretty neat feature with the sword is when you slice and dice an enemy, you can keep doing so and almost juggle them with your sword. I'm not sure if this was an intended feature, but I did think it added to the sword combat. Then, with the completion of the new story missions, there are 9 new combat simulator maps, which you can play around with in the different horde modes. Then, last but not least, by far my favourite new addition to Trepang2, which came with a free update when the Blade Kisser DLC dropped, is the Build a Merc mode, also known by the community as BAM. It's like an unhinged maniac version of Build-A-Bear, except you're building an elite bloodthirsty mercenary. To enter the Builder Make mode, all you need to do is jump into its game mode through the combat simulator, and once you're here, you can create a mercenary in whatever way you want using the different model assets that are available in Trepang2. I love the amount of options available to the player, so you can customize your mech however you want. In addition to customizing your mech's appearance, you can also customize how much health and armor they have, along with how slow or fast their walk and run speed is, and how good their accuracy and reaction speed is in combat. So massive hats off to the developers of Trepang2 for allowing the player to basically make whatever companion they want without having to mod the game through third-party tools to do any of this. The fact that the developers allow you to do this is just sheer brilliant, and more developers need to start taking notes from the guys at Trepang Studios. However, my only feedback with the customization, which would be an easy fix, is I would have liked it if it wasn't RGB sliders and instead a color wheel, so you can easily pick the exact colors you wanted for your mech's outfit without having to constantly slide around to get the color you're looking for. Once you've created your mech, which I have done and called him John Wick, which I think is a very fit name and he'll fit perfectly in with Task Force 27, you can jump into one of the story missions or horde modes through the combat simulator and spawn in your mech to help support your blood-fueled rampage against the Horizon Corporation. However, I think I need to fine-tune John Wick here because his reaction speed was just terrible when I pitted him up against some cult members in the horde mode. Trepang2 is a game that continues to surprise me with how good it is, and with the release of the Blade Kisser DLC and the most recent free update, it has shown the community and I that this game can be so much better than what it already is. Although this game is currently phenomenal, it has the potential to be greater, and the developers have shown that already with how far this game has come since release. Once again, I have to congratulate every single member of Trepang Studios who worked on bringing this game to life, because you have created a new staple mark title in the FPS genre that more people need to experience for themselves to understand how magnificent this game is. I've said it before and I'll say it again, if you haven't played this game already, what are you doing? Do yourself the biggest favor and pick this game up when you get the chance to do so, because you definitely won't be disappointed. Trepang2 is available on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. So hopefully after seeing this video, you decide to pick up the Blade Kisser DLC, or even better, you decide to pick up Trepang2 and its Season Pass. If you do, please drop the video a like rating. If you have played this game before, or if you think this game deserves a sequel, please let me know in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Also, if you do enjoy content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button and click on the bell icon to turn on notifications so you don't miss my next upload. With that being said, I want to give a special shout out to my YouTube members and Patreon supporters, Cyberboy, Veggie Hot Dog, George Kent, Demonic Salsa, and Whaley. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.